Okay, here we go. Welcome to another episode of Substars. This is week 2 of Substars. Although this is necessarily week 10 of Nearest Mode. And this is going to be the last show before we go to week 11. But this is week 2 of Substars. Since we just started doing Substars as of a week ago. Or, I don't know, a certain time limit ago. Anyway, later on tonight, Network Contenders match. Fatal 5-way for the NXT Championship. 2 Raw Superstars, 2 SmackDown Superstars, 1 ECW Superstar, that 1 ECW Superstar being Finn Bálor. So, I didn't want to do another 6-pack challenge because we already did a 6-pack challenge on SmackDown to see who becomes the number contender for Jack Swagger's United States Championship. I'm not going to spoil anything. You guys can watch SmackDown if you haven't already. But, anyway, kicking things off with Raw action. Sheamus and Tyson Kidd, they're going to go 1-1 here. And also, later on tonight, we're also going to have some ECW action, as we're going to have Keith Lee versus Chris Benoit. So, Chris Benoit, I believe this is... Keith Lee and Chris Benoit, I believe this is their secondary matches here on Nearest Mode. And I'm struggling to talk because this code is actually very... I'm not sure if this code got worse or slightly better, because now I'm struggling to talk. Mostly because my throat's itchy now. Before it was a sore throat, now it's just an itchy throat. But this cold not getting any better necessarily. I believe it's been a whole week since I've been having this cold now, so that's not all that good. We're also going to have Erick versus Dean Ambrose in ECW action. Kevin Owens versus Hideo Itami in SmackDown action. And this is going to be Kevin Owens' first matchup here in Nearest Mode after he got injured from your now World Heavyweight Champion on SmackDown, Aleister Black. He'll face off against Hideo Itami ever since Kevin Owens did attack Hideo Itami last night on SmackDown. He did attack him backstage. So Kevin Owens, he is back. And let's see if he is better. Can he pick up victory against the man he attacked on SmackDown, Hideo Itami? So this is Hideo's second matchup here in Nearest Mode, I think. And this is Owens' return match, so to speak. Then that ECW action is what we're going to transition to again. Keith Lee against Chris Benoit. That should be interesting. And then your fifth final matchup, number one contenders for the NXT Championship. Fatal 5-way with the special guest referee being SmackDown's Mr. Perfect. Of course, Mr. Perfect, he did win the Battle Royal. He did win the, 18-man Battle Royal to become the first ever NXT Champion. The final two were Guerrero and Mr. Perfect. Both of them were on the SmackDown roster, and so Mr. Perfect eliminated Guerrero. And so Mr. Perfect, he is now your NXT Champion, and the NXT title belongs on SmackDown. So, let's see if it could transition. If we can have a different number contender from our Raw or ECW here. Because as we're going to have Silas Young representing Raw and Alberto Guerrero. Silas Young and Alberto Guerrero represent Raw. Finn Bálor, the only one representing ECW. And Chris Hero and chavo Guerrero, the only ones representing SmackDown. We shall see how that works out. So Bálor, he's the only hope to bring the ECW, to bring the NXT Championship to ECW. He's the only hope for that. And Silas Young and Alberto Guerrero, the only hopes to bring the NXT title to Raw, so we shall see that. And of course, if Chris Hero or chavo Guerrero wins, well then it'll be a SmackDown Superstar versus SmackDown Superstar for the NXT Championship. But we shall see later on tonight. As pay attention to the Raw action here. Sheamus and Tyson Kidd, these two wrestlers that have not been showcased all that much. Of course, Tyson Kidd, he wasn't that number one contender WWE Championship Battle Royal on Raw in week 10, so that was that. He did not win, sadly. But he did get an amazing opportunity, this young kid. And now it's go by Rob on Sheamus trying to pick up a victory here. Much needed victory for either of these men, since, they've not really been showcased. Neither on Raw or Heat. But we are going to showcase them a whole lot more, since Raw, SmackDown, and ECW both have great talents. And a whole lot of it as well. More than what we need to do with for storyline-wise. So, but I do occasionally have everything planned out. So I do have everything planned out for each one of a specific wrestler, and it may overlap with another wrestler's storyline. And I really never run out of ideas, to be fair. But, it could get difficult sometimes. But I do have things planned out for these two. Not necessarily going to be a quick-paced storyline for each of these two to overlap with other storylines. But, it's that, I guess. Sheamus missing the bro kick. Tyson Kidd, he did catch that. So, Tyson Kidd, just make sure it did not get planted down with the bro kick. Definitely, if he did, would have definitely been the end of it. Now, Tyson Kidd, simply going to get kicked to the back. Well, he's trying to get the upper hand. Sheamus, humongous strike there, and just strikes him down again. Sheamus, no mercy being shown here, and he's gonna have him up in the Irish Curse backbreaker. Tyson Kidd no selling that. He no sold the move. Sheamus with the back suplex into the pin, and that's it. And ladies and gentlemen, first matchup of the night, and it was Raw's side of the match. Raw's side of the night. I don't know, something that I was trying to say something. I don't know. Anyway, that would be Raw's matchup. As we have Sheamus defeating Tyson Kidd. Move on over to East Story action as Erick Rowan takes on Dean Ambrose. This should be interesting. So of course Dean Ambrose, he has necessarily not been shown on East Story all that much. He did get a shot at the East Story Championship to kick things off in numerous mode in like week 1, week 2, and week 3. Dean Ambrose, he did sadly get eliminated from the 4-man ECW title tournament. It was Raven, Finn Bálor, Dean Ambrose, and Baron Corbin. Raven defeated Finn Bálor in a hell of a main event in ECW week 1. ECW week 2, we had Baron Corbin defeat Dean Ambrose. ECW week 3 for the ECW Championship, we had Raven defeat Baron Corbin. Then after that, at the Bare Legal pay-per-view, Corbin defeats Raven for the title. And then things happen, and Minoru Suzuki defeats Baron Corbin for the ECW Championship. So we've had 3 champions we had 3 ECW champions. The tag titles, the hardcore lightweight title, and the hardcore television championship have not changed that many times. Unlike the ECW Championship, the most prestigious title. We all know Erick Rowan and his partner Luke Harper, they'll love to hold the ECW tag titles. And that's my first cough of the whole video. I was doing good. Didn't feel like coughing until now. If you guys did watch SmackDown last night, you guys would know that I was coughing a whole lot. Anyway, now Erick going to the pin, didn't necessarily get a 2 count, did he? No. And now, of course, the Ambrose, he'll love to try to hold the championship here. On these, though, he did have a little assigned program with Adam Cole. That was just a one-time only thing, just so we could have one more match in the card. So we made Adam Cole attack Dean Ambrose, especially since Dean Ambrose did eliminate Adam Cole from the. Was it a fatal 4-way elimination? No, it was a 6-man elimination match to see who becomes the number 1 contender for Taz's ECW Hardcore Television Championship. Of course, Kenny Omega, he won that one. So now Omega, he's currently your champion after using his rematch clause against Taz, because he didn't win the first time, but he did win the second time. Now Erick going to the pin off of that fallen full Nelson slam type. And now, of course, no disqualification rules, so you can use that monitor, you can use that camera, you can use anything. Back suplex from Ambrose into the pin. This is what defeated Tyson Kidd, and only in 2 count. And now Erick Rowan, upper hand off of the headbutt, and now into some kicks to the groin. And that explosion from the camera, and then the monitor as well. Ambrose and Rowan feeling the effects of that, aren't they? Erick Rowan getting up from that. It's like he didn't even feel it in the first place. To a headlock, trying to wear down Ambrose to a crossface. Dean Ambrose not doing so well in this matchup so far, and now Rowan, he gets strode down by Ambrose. Ambrose with the upper hand now. Remember, weapons, furniture are legal. This is ECW. And Ambrose kinda did a knee drop, but it turned into a crossbody as Erick Rowan was midway up. And now Ambrose was snap suplex into a nice transition to a side headlock takedown. So that was nice. Now into an anaconda vice type. No, it was the anaconda vice. And now Erick Rowan has the Ambrose. No, Ambrose countered. Now Ambrose drilling down Erick Rowan. Rowan trying to fight back here. This is definitely a matchup that Dean Ambrose thrives on. So imagine him and Luke Harper. Another great matchup that could happen on ECW, but now it's happening on Superstars since we need some good Superstars appeal. And the NXT title, it's going to be showcased on Superstars. We're treating Superstars like NXT. But, you know, I don't know, I had something. But whichever superstar from where brand has the NXT title, for example, Mr. Perfect, he's on SmackDown and he has the NXT title. He's not been showcased on SmackDown, but he will be showcased later on in future SmackDown episodes. Of course, if he stays with the championship for a certain time limit until we decide to showcase him. So, of course, if an ECW superstar or a Raw superstar ever wins the NXT title, they could bring it over to Raw or ECW, stuff like that, but it's going to still only be defended on Superstars as Erick Rowan pins Dean Ambrose off the bump, off of the ring apron, Ambrose taking a nasty land and Erick Rowan with the victory. Dean Ambrose not happy about that. You could tell Erick Rowan. A surprise victory right there. Ambrose caught off guard. Erick Rowan picks up a very needed victory. But remember, he's still inside the tag team division with his partner, Luke Harper, over on ECW. Anyway, moving on to SmackDown action. Here we go. Hideo Itami, this will be his secondary matchup in the SmackDown brand. Ironically enough, his first ever matchup was in the live show. The monthly live show / house show highlights that we're going to do. So in the monthly one, he did lose to Austin Aries. I believe he lost to Austin Aries in his debut. So, Aries, of course, he has done something on SmackDown in which you guys have not watched SmackDown. I recommend you guys did watch SmackDown. I recommend you guys do watch SmackDown before you watch this. You watch SmackDown Week 10 with, Aleister Black, Cesaro, John Cena, and Pete Dunne in the thumbnail. So, you guys can watch that if you haven't watched Superstar Set, because then it'll explain, what Austin Aries is really doing. Because of how important he is now to SmackDown. He was always important, but now he has something specific. And he's getting something. Let's say he's getting a fourth opportunity for something. And if you guys already know, well then, you guys already know. And that's my second cough. I'm doing well. I was doing well. Never mind. And now Kevin Owens, of course, he did attack Hideo Itami. They're returning Kevin Owens. He did get injured. KO, he did get injured in week 3 or 4. Probably 5 of SmackDown, I believe. And so, returning on week 10. Wasn't necessarily a bad rib injury, but you gotta tell, and you gotta definitely necessarily know, if he does get hit in those ribs again, he's definitely gonna be feeling the effects. And there goes Hideo Itami through the table. Kevin Owens so far hasn't lost one single beat. Nails the Bullfrog Splash. And yes, I said Bullfrog instead of Frog Splash because that's what JBL used to say, and that was funny in 2016. About to be 2 years ago, once we hit, of course, New Year's Day. So that's gonna be cool. Anyway, now Kevin Owens upper hand on Hideo Itami, sort of. The return Kevin Owens has definitely not lost a beat at all attacking Hideo Itami. Now, of course, Kevin Owens, he has attacked Dolph Ziggler and Austin Aries backstage and after matches in the past. So, KO attacking Hideo Itami. Necessarily a surprise. But, I don't know, I'm trying to say something. Necessarily a surprise, but, Not really all surprising if you think about it. Oh my god. I'm losing my voice. Alright, what was I trying to say? So anyway, it probably sounds like there's either a jump skip in audio after I just cleared my throat, or that I just stumbled up on my, speech and I just didn't know what to say. But yeah, I got interrupted again. No surprise there. For SmackDown, not surprising, didn't get interrupted. And that was my longest episode of Universe Mode ever. 56 minutes. Now, if anything, there have been episodes, of course, in which were, live from MSG, that was an hour and 2 minutes and something seconds, or an hour and 3 minutes and 38 seconds in total, if I did add up all the clips. I didn't, because I was scared of me losing space, but I have realized after uploading it, a couple days after I uploaded it, that I could have actually not have lost space if I had, all together, all those clips. And so, that's that, sadly. So, yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, here we go. What was I trying to say again? Because I actually got interrupted, so I had to, stop what I was doing. Please forgot what I was saying. Anyway. So, of course, Hideo Itami, he definitely wants some revenge on Kevin Owens after Owens returning, making a statement by attacking, by Kevin Owens, of course, attacking Hideo Itami. So Owens, he definitely has a whole resume of attacking people from behind. He has attacked Dolph Ziggler before. He has attacked Austin Aries before. He has tried to attack Aleister Black before we even had a World Heavyweight Champion. Oh my god. Okay, what was I trying to say again? Completely forgot. Got interrupted again. Now, if anything, I've rechecked on many of my videos for like almost all of them, in which I get interrupted like at least once or twice, and then I have to explain why there's like a quick jump skip of audio. Even though, like sometimes, or at least like most of the time, the jump skip of audio is not necessarily jump skip because I just quickly repeat a word after that by one I just edited out. Well, I can't edit out the jump skip, but you know, that's that, I guess. But necessarily when I say that I got interrupted, it doesn't even sound like an audio jump skip, so it just sounds like I'm saying some of another sentence. I whatever. Trying to find a way to explain it. That's my third cough. I did eat something that had cinnamon earlier on, so that probably didn't necessarily help out this cold. Oh man. Anyway, most men on count 3, Hideo Itami. Imagine how big it is if he gets a victory here. With this new up-and-comer to the universe mode, imagine if he could used to get a victory here against Kevin Owens, a man who has made a humongous reputation and who actually has almost was inside the world title picture until he sadly got injured by your now world heavyweight champion, Aleister Black. And so now, Aleister Black holding the world title, to be fair, that's kind of perfect because, you know, Aleister Black represents like metal, stuff like that. I like metal. I also like rock music. Why you think my outro is... why I think my outro is just what it is. Uncopyrighted rock music. And I just noticed, I didn't add in my intro, did I? I didn't. Alright, there. This time, no intro. Was just like a 10-second picture of multiple superstars. And it says welcome above it. And then that's when I just like do stuff. Say welcome to universe mode, stuff like that. I didn't add in the intro. For SmackDown, I didn't add in my outro. Probably because of how, you know, humongous the file was. And I got all caught up in trying to make the file as minimum as possible. You know, we'll have added an extra, 28 to 31 seconds. Probably 32 seconds. To make it 56 minutes and 32 seconds, probably, for the file. But I just didn't add in the outro. And then I completely noticed when I uploaded it. So I didn't want to edit it and wait for it to compress. Then upload. Then process. Stay on 95% processing forever. And then finally upload all over again. Which, to be fair, that almost took 40 minutes. So, I don't have that kind of patience. And for this one, I'm not adding the intro, and I just noticed. And if I did add in the intro, well, then I feel like an idiot. I'm going to have to add in the outro after I edit this video, of course, which is what I always do. Anyway, going back to the action now. Hideo Itami saw how to take down Kevin Owens. Imagine Bones stabs out here. Itami definitely has a whole lot of devastating movesets. Of course, like the GTS being one of them. I believe the shotgun knee strike also is one of them. Is it, or is it a different type of dropkick that I'm thinking of? Anyway, now, of course, Hideo Itami, definitely well-known and a dangerous wrestler, but of course, Kevin Owens, well-known as well, very dangerous as well. KO, Kevin Steen, or Kevin Owens. Keeping his Kevin Owens here, until we decide to call him Kevin Steen all over again, like what he was in Ring of Honor, stuff like that. Same saying, we could just put him with a mask and call him El Generico, like what he was in Ring of Honor. Not necessarily yet, not fully sure. And now Owens trying to do the powerbomb. Now, of course, since you can't do a pop-up powerbomb as finisher in this game, so we're just going to play as regular powerbomb. Although if Kevin Owens does do an Irish whip when he has a finisher, and then he does a grapple, then it will become the pop-up powerbomb, but sadly, CPU is not that smart, so yeah, that can't happen. It could be a package power driver, but there's no really automatic moves that look like the package power driver. Now Owens had a victory off the body slam, I believe, 2. Itami, some chops. 3, 4 knife head chops. Brings Owens back to the ring, and nails Swanton. And now Itami has Owens up, well, probably a small drop, or GTS probably. Now Owens missing the super kick. Itami, multiple maneuvers, multiple strikes. To bring the upper hand on Kevin Owens. Owens fighting back. And KO Kevin Owens, a tough opponent, so is Hideo Itami. But of course, Hideo Itami more hungry, or Kevin Owens, he has been in the spotlight. Well, at least, he definitely wants to be back in the spotlight, because he wasn't in the spotlight for that long. Of course, his injury took him out for a couple episodes of SmackDown and 2 pay-per-views. SmackDown exclusive No Surrender preview, and then the joint branded Raw and SmackDown ECW live from the machine preview. And now, off the bicycle kick into a moonsault, Itami nails the victory. He nails the moonsault and the victory. Hideo Itami, sweet revenge, as he picks up a victory against KO Kevin Opportunity Owens. Picks up a victory against Kevin Owens here tonight. Off the humongous bicycle kick, Kevin Owens went flying off that bicycle kick, my ad. And then Hideo Itami landed somewhat, like probably 30 or 40% of that moonsault onto Owens to add him a little bit more damage off of how many feet Kevin Owens went off of that bicycle kick. Hideo Itami picks up a victory against Kevin Owens. And man, what a hell of an ending that was as well. I like that. So that was your SmackDown bit of action. ECW side of things, here we go. Chris Benoit, Keith Lee, both these men this their second matches here in ECW. Ironically enough, like Hideo Itami, Chris Benoit has not actually had a real matchup on the ECW, show, but he is part of the ECW roster. He was in the house show, was he? Was he? No, he was on Superstars. Hideo Itami was on the house show. Hideo Itami was on the monthly house show live tour, and then he was, on Superstars just now. So Chris Benoit, he was on Superstars last week, on Superstars this week for week 2. But not yet on ECW episode or the ECW pre-show, which of course is metal. Now, just look at the size differential of the crippler, Chris Benoit, and of the humongous Keith Lee. Keith Lee, of course, to be fair, really great superstar. He could even do a moonsault, and he is a humongous man, so that by far is impressive in itself. And now Benoit going up on top. I believe Keith Lee's down, and Benoit nails that headbutt type, although it usually looks like frog smash to the crippler crossface. But Keith Lee immediately getting up to turn into a headlock as Keith Lee went through the table as well. This way he's all about, ladies and gentlemen. Keith Lee immediately getting up off of Benoit's finisher, the crippler crossface, turned into a headlock. Probably seen a whole lot of footage of Chris Benoit before this match even happened. Knowing how dangerous when Chris Benoit is able to fully apply the crippler crossface, immediately could make you tap out. Keith Lee gets up immediately. He knew what was happening. He knew what was coming to him, and that was a devastating crippler crossface. He gets up, turns Benoit's crossface into a headlock to just easily escape the pressure and have a better chance of not tapping out. Smart by Keith Lee. But now Benoit off the side, take down Orange Irish Whip. No, not the Irish Whip, or the Arm Dragon. He picks up a victory as Keith Lee's head did bounce off that trash can. Okay, wow. Man, that was fast. Okay. 1 Raw match, 1 SmackDown match, 2 ECW matches. Here we go. 5th and final one. Your main event, the number 1 contenders for the NXT Championship, special guest referee, SmackDowns, and your NXT Champion, Mr. Perfect, who ironically enough has the Inter Championship. It's not called the Intercontinental Championship in this game. It's called the Inter Championship in Maple Leaf Grappling. And he ironically has that title generated to him. So we're just going to use that, put it into exhibition mode, stuff like that. Anyway, here we go. Fatal 5-way action. This is going to be a complete mess, to be fair. This really is. Finn Bálor, of course, the only one representing. He's still here. And Guerrero nails him down the back suplex. Chavo, Guerrero, Guerrero, double team. Suplex onto Silas Young. Both of them nailed the kick up. But of course, Guerrero, Chavo, Guerrero, they're both from SmackDown. So they both did team up on the one Raw guy they had set in their sights, which was Silas Young, while Guerrero, or Ross Guerrero, and ECW's Finn Bálor were occupied. You gotta think here. We could have Raw versus SmackDown. But of course, since it's not 6 men, we can't make it even. There's no one else to make it even for Finn Bálor, who is the only ECW representative in here. So, if Finn does win this matchup, unlikely odds, because he has 2 our Raw superstars, 2 our SmackDown superstars on his neck, right behind him, chasing for the NXT Championship. And of course, Mr. Perfect, he is a SmackDown superstar. He has not had a match on the actual SmackDown or SmackDown's pre-show Velocity yet. But, of course, we did assign him to SmackDown, and he's had only matches on Superstars so far. Well, only one match necessarily, but of course, you know, he could probably screw over ECW's Finn Bálor or Raw's Silas Young and Guerrero. Probably give SmackDown's Chavo Guerrero or Chris Hero the easy victory. Now, ladies and gentlemen, of course, Chavo Guerrero, he'll want to win the NXT title for his uncle, Eddie Guerrero. Of course, Eddie Guerrero, he did come up short and win the NXT Championship in that 18-man, 6 men for Raw, 6 men for SmackDown, 6 men for ECW Battle Royal in Week 1 to determine your NXT champion. It was Eddie Guerrero and Mr. Perfect, your following two, and those following 2 men, they were from SmackDown. So we will have had a SmackDown superstar hold the NXT title either way, because your following 2 superstars were from SmackDown, but the one SmackDown superstar who gets to hold it, Mr. Perfect, and not Eddie Guerrero. So, of course, we've given Chavo Guerrero the opportunity. I actually want Chavo to try to win a championship here in Universe Mode. I also want Guerrero to try to win a championship here in ECW. I mean, not in ECW, but in Universe Mode, my bad. So, we shall see. Now, it has Silas Young staring down Finn Bálor. Finn Bálor staring off to the distance as Guerrero. Now, it's a dropkick to Chris Hero. If you did see it now to the ankle lock, Chris Hero, Guerrero, Raw versus SmackDown right here. Silas Young, Finn Bálor, ECW versus Raw. Chavo Guerrero represents SmackDown, misses the dropkick. And Chavo definitely did not take necessarily a good landing. A whole lot of action call here. Now, even it's easier for me to call Battle Royals. And there we go. Death frontward, full Nelson type. Or just, let's just call it Skull Crush finale. Or whatever. Because it is, but try to see if I can call it whatever else. Whatever. Facebuster, there. Let's call that. I don't know. Now, Guerrero has Silas Young. Well, at least he had him off the ropes. Goes Silas. Gets striked by Guerrero. And now Guerrero trying to aim after Chavo. Misses the dropkick. Chavo Guerrero just too fast for him, but he runs into the arms of Silas Young. Gets Guerrero press slammed for his troubles. Fearful leg lock by both Raw superstars to SmackDown superstars. Okay. Now Chavo switches it up. And Finn Bálor, the only Easter representative, was the one who was laying down. So I like that moment. And now Mr. Perfect not noticing the pin. Gonna now try and cover it by Silas Young. He definitely would have had the victory. Because since no one actually broke it up, Bálor broke up the submission, not the pin. And now here we go. It's Finn Bálor, Chris Hero, Silas Young. One Raw, one SmackDown, one ECW. Well, we have SmackDown's Chavo Guerrero, Raw's Raw's Guerrero in the ring. But now my odds men are basically just going to keep moving around, so it's going to be difficult. Now Bálor and Guerrero, they're having a little bit of occupation, I guess you would say. Well, at least a little bit of a meeting. Finn Bálor trying to become the first ECW superstar to hold the NXT title. And then, of course, either Silas Young or Guerrero trying to become the first man to hold the NXT title for Raw. But, of course, that's, of course, if they could defeat Mr. Perfect at whatever pay-per-view it will happen. Well, since Mr. Perfect is part of the SmackDown roster, it will be a SmackDown's Bound for Glory pay-per-view, where whichever superstar from our brand has the NXT title, they will defend it at the pay-per-view or on the regular episode of Superstars, depending on when we want that to happen, depending how stacked the card is as well. So I guess you could say it's all said and done for that specifically. I don't know. Anyway, now Chavo Guerrero and Convice to Chris Hero didn't necessarily have too much risk. Guerrero did break it up. And now Guerrero hit the back head of Chavo with that bat. And now, roll up by Hero. Almost had the victory there. Feel like the SmackDown superstars, Chris Hero, Chavo Guerrero, they should be teaming up against the Raw superstars, which is, of course, Silas Young and Guerrero. And then ECW's Finn Bálor, he just picking the lines. Or just get destroyed by all 40s men. We do not know. We could have a Raw and SmackDown the lines against ECW. ECW, of course, is, known as the Harbor brand. The brand that's just there to act as a placeholder, to act as the peasants of Raw and SmackDown. And then again, Raw always thinks SmackDown are the peasants as well. So, but even though SmackDown has actually drawn more better star ratings because they have the better roster and they have drawn better viewings, stuff like that. And now Chris Hero is trying to see if he could try to pick up victory against Silas Young. Not gonna happen so far. Silas, then my Chavo Guerrero breaks that up. Finn Bálor and Guerrero testing it out here. Bálor nails that missed dropkick. Well, or that was missed dropkick, or whatever. This goal is annoying me. And now Guerrero hitting Bálor with the flaming pipe. Even though Chavo Guerrero, Silas Young, there's so much action call. I do better in battle royals, to be fair. Why can I not call a fatal 5-way match, but I could call a 6-pack challenge on SmackDown, and I could call like 18-man battle royals? Don't know why. Chavo with the pin. No, I mean, what's that? No, that's the real with the pin on Chavo. My bad. So much action call here. Finn Bálor trying to catch his breath. Being the only ECW superstar in this matchup, definitely has to watch out for the Raw SmackDown superstars. Basically has to watch out for everyone, to be fair. So far, no alliances between Raw and SmackDown versus Finn Bálor. Now Chavo can steal victory, and yes, he does by pinning SmackDown's Chris Hero. Chavo Guerrero, a SmackDown superstar, pinning another SmackDown superstar, his fellow SmackDown superstar, which is Chris Hero. Chris Hero, Chavo Guerrero, the only two SmackDown representatives in this matchup. And so, Chavo Guerrero pinning his fellow SmackDown superstar, Chris Hero, to get the victory. And so, it's going to be SmackDown versus SmackDown. So, we're going to have SmackDown's Mr. Perfect defend his NXT Championship against SmackDown's Chavo Guerrero at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view. We're not going to make it at Superstars. We're going to make it at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view just so we can have more matches on the card. So there we go. The NXT Championship is going to stay on SmackDown until we get a different number one contender from our Raw or ECW, and then until we get a matchup, and then until we get a Raw or ECW superstar win the championship from our Mr. Perfect or Chavo Guerrero, whichever SmackDown superstar may walk out of the SmackDown exclusive Bound for Glory Money in the Bank type pay-per-view, which it will be after Raw's pay-per-view, and then ECW's pay-per-view will be after SmackDown's. Raw's pay-per-view will be on week 12. Raw will be on week 12. SmackDown's pay-per-view will be on week 13. ECW's pay-per-view will be on week 14. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. I will see you all either on SmackDown exclusive GM mode, which SmackDown GM mode now and all connected to SmackDown Humorous mode, since SmackDown GM mode is connected to Ruthless Aggression era. So, aka like the 2003, 2004, 2005 type era, since I was like growing up at that time. I was born in 2004, so got a little experience with that. And so for Humorous mode, don't miss the beginning of week 11, in which we kick things off with Raw's pre-show Heat, then Raw, ECW's pre-show Metal, ECW, SmackDown's pre-show Velocity, then SmackDown, then Superstars, then all over again until we get to pay-per-view. Everything, guys, watch the video, and bye.